Welcome back, everybody. Today we're diving into something that I bet you're hearing a lot about these days.
Mhm.
AI giving personalized advice.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're going to be talking about dietary advice. And, the question that everyone seems to be asking is,
Right.
can AI like ChatGPT
Mm.
really create a custom meal plan
Yeah,
that actually works for people?
absolutely.
And does this work for everyone everywhere? A new study out of Central Asia is suggesting maybe not. And the reason is really surprising. I think
Yeah.
it all comes down to language.
It really does highlight how AI's real world performance
Right.
can be so different from all the hype we hear about.
Hmm.
This research team from Nazarbayev University
Okay.
in Kazakhstan, they took a very practical approach.
Mm.
They really wanted to see how ChatGPT-4, a very advanced AI,
Hmm.
would perform when given real patient cases.
Yeah. It's interesting that this study was published just this month, December 2024. It feels like every day, we're hearing about a new AI breakthrough.
Hmm.
So to have researchers actually putting it to the test in
Yeah.
such a rigorous way is pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
And they didn't just have computer scientists on the team. They brought in doctors, dietitians,
Right.
public health experts, folks who deal with nutrition day in and day out.
Yeah, that real world perspective is key. It kind of moves us beyond just the technical capabilities
Yeah.
and more into how it might actually be used to help people.
Mm-hmm.
They created 50 mock patient profiles based on real cases, and then they fed each profile into ChatGPT-4
Okay.
in 3 different languages:
Yep.
English, Russian, and Kazakh.
Okay, so we've got trilingual AI nutrition advice.
Yeah,
So I'm already hooked.
Yeah.
Did they just accept whatever ChatGPT spit out, or was there a way to evaluate how good the advice actually was?
They had a clear system for evaluation based on 3 criteria.
Okay.
So personalization, consistency, and
Right.
practicality.
Gotcha.
Basically, how well did the advice fit the individual's needs? Did it align with established dietary guidelines?
Right.
And could people actually find and eat
Yeah.
the suggested foods?
That makes sense. I mean, a fancy meal plan from an AI isn't very helpful if it ignores your cultural preferences or recommends ingredients that you just can't get at the store.
Absolutely.
So what did they find?
Yeah.
Did ChatGPT pass this real-world test?
The results were mixed.
Okay.
In English and Russian, where ChatGPT had more data to learn from,
Right.
it scored an average of 3 out of 5 on those criteria. Not perfect,
Okay.
but not a complete failure.
So even with the languages that ChatGPT is most familiar with,
Yeah.
it's not quite ready to replace a human dietitian.
Right.
Were any of the scores perfect? 5 out of 5?
Not a single one.
Mm.
This shows us that even in languages with abundant data, AI still has room to improve when it comes to providing nuanced,
Yeah.
personalized dietary advice.
That's a good reminder, I think,
Yeah.
that AI is a tool. It's not necessarily a replacement for human expertise.
Absolutely.
But I'm really curious about those results in Kazakh. That's not a language you typically hear being used
Right.
in AI development.
And that's where the study gets really interesting.
Okay.
In Kazakh, ChatGPT's performance
Mm-hmm.
really plummeted to almost a 1 out of 5. Instead of giving coherent dietary advice, it started generating these nonsensical outputs,
Wow.
even inventing words that don't exist,
Really?
particularly when it came to food.
Wait, so the AI was making up food?
It was
With imaginary ingredients and stuff?
Yes.
That's kind of hilarious, but also a little concerning.
It is concerning because it highlights a significant issue: AI bias.
Right.
The AI's struggle with Kazakh wasn't due to some inherent flaw in the language itself.
Sure.
It was because the AI had significantly less data to learn from in Kazakh compared to English or Russian.
So it's like the AI was trying to speak a language it barely understood, and it just started making things up to fill in the gaps.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And this has major implications for how we develop and deploy AI in
Right.
the future.
Yeah.
It shows that access to data is crucial, and that if we want AI to be truly useful and fair, we need to make sure it's trained on diverse data sets that represent a wide range of languages and cultures.
This is starting to feel less like a nutrition study and more like a wake-up call about the potential pitfalls of AI.
It is a wake-up call, and a timely one.
Mm-hmm.
While AI offers incredible potential,
Yeah.
this study reminds us that we can't just assume it's ready to be applied everywhere
Right.
without careful consideration of potential biases and limitations.
It's a good reminder that technology, even AI, doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's shaped by the data it's fed
Right.
and the people who create it.
And that leads us to another important consideration,
Okay.
the potential impact of AI on healthcare.
Right.
This Kazakh study shows us that
Okay.
using AI in sensitive areas like nutrition advice
Mm.
requires a nuanced understanding not just of the technology,
Mm.
but also of the cultural and linguistic context
Yeah.
in which it will be used.
So what can we do about this? I mean, we can't just stop using AI.
Right.
It's already changing so many aspects of our lives.
We don't have to stop using AI,
Yeah.
but we do need to be more aware of its limitations.
Mm-hmm.
This study highlights the importance of diverse data sets, careful testing in real-world scenarios, and involving experts from different fields to ensure that AI is used responsibly and effectively. We need to move beyond the hype and really understand the implications of this technology.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we've covered the study itself. What's this all mean? What's the big takeaway here for our listener?
The takeaway is that while AI holds promise for creating custom dietary plans, it's not a magic bullet. And more importantly, we need to be aware of the potential for bias,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to language and culture. This means being cautious about deploying AI in sensitive areas like healthcare without careful consideration and testing.
This Kazakh study really highlights the importance of thinking critically about AI and not just accepting it as like a flawless solution.
Yeah.
So while we can be excited about the possibilities, we also need to remain informed about the limitations.
Exactly.
We can't just assume that AI knows best, especially when it comes to something as personal and culturally influenced as food.
Absolutely.
But this research also hints at a future where AI could be much more powerful and helpful.
That's right. Imagine if AI could analyze not just your dietary preferences, but also your blood work, genetics, and actual eating habits. It could create a truly personalized and dynamic nutrition plan tailored to your unique needs.
That takes us into some really fascinating territory, and that's exactly what we'll be exploring in part 2 of our deep dive. We'll be talking about nutrigenomics, the future of personalized nutrition, and how AI might play a role.
It's a future where AI could move beyond just analyzing questionnaires and actually look at your unique biology.
Yeah.
That's where nutrigenomics comes in.
Nutra what now? I'm guessing our listener may not be familiar with that term.
Right?
Can you break it down for us? What is nutrigenomics?
Imagine a personalized instruction manual for your body,
Okay.
but it's written in the language of your DNA.
Okay.
That's essentially what nutrigenomics is.
Gotcha.
It's the study of how our genes interact with the food we eat.
So instead of generic advice like eat more vegetables,
Yeah.
this would be more like based on your genes, you'd benefit from spinach,
Right.
but maybe go easy on the broccoli.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Nutrigenomics could tell us how your unique genetic makeup
Mm-hmm.
influences how you process nutrients, what foods might benefit you most, and even which ones you might be sensitive to.
Mm.
And AI could potentially analyze your genetic predispositions
Okay.
for things like heart disease or diabetes, and then recommend specific foods that might help mitigate those risks.
So it's like having a personal nutritionist who knows you inside and out down to your DNA.
Exactly.
That sounds incredibly powerful, but is it realistic? Can AI really do all of that?
We're not quite there yet,
Okay.
but the potential is there.
Yeah.
AI is already being used to analyze medical images,
Right.
predict disease risk, and even personalize drug dosages.
Uh-huh.
So it's not a far leap to imagine it being used to create personalized nutrition plans based on our individual genetic makeup.
Okay, so we're talking about combining AI with this nutrigenomics data to get a really deep understanding of how our bodies interact with food. But what about those real-world factors we discussed earlier?
Right.
Things like cultural preferences,
Yeah.
food availability, and even just our own personal likes and dislikes. Can AI take all of that into account as well?
That's the goal, and that's where the real power of AI comes in.
Okay.
Imagine if AI could not only analyze your genetic data,
Yeah.
but also take into account your lifestyle, your activity levels, sleep patterns, even your stress levels, and then combine all of that with data on local food availability,
Okay.
cultural dietary practices, and your personal preferences.
It's like having a super smart nutritionist who's available 24/7 and constantly learning and adapting to your needs.
Exactly.
That sounds pretty amazing, but I have to ask,
Sure.
what about the downsides?
Yeah.
Are there any potential risks or ethical concerns that we should be thinking about?
Of course, as with any powerful technology, there are always potential downsides.
Sure.
Data privacy is a huge concern.
Right.
We're talking about very personal information.
Yeah.
Your genes, your health records, even your daily eating habits. It's crucial that this data is protected and used responsibly.
And it's not just about protecting the data itself.
Right.
It's about ensuring that this technology is accessible to everyone.
Yes.
And not just a privileged few.
Absolutely.
We wouldn't want to see a future where only the wealthy can afford personalized nutrition advice, while others are left behind.
You're right. Equity and access are crucial considerations. We need to make sure that the benefits of AI-driven nutrition are available to everyone, regardless of their income, background, or location.
So as we move toward this future of AI-powered nutrition, it sounds like we need to be asking some tough questions. How do we balance the incredible potential of this technology with the very real concerns about data privacy, accessibility, and potential biases?
Absolutely.
Those are some pretty big questions, and I think that's a great place to transition to part 3 of our deep dive, where we'll explore those potential risks and ethical considerations in more detail. It feels like we're on the verge of something really huge with this AI-powered nutrition, but as we've been discussing, there are some serious questions we need to address before we all rush out and get our genes sequenced for a personalized meal plan, right?
It's about moving beyond the wow factor. Really asking those so what questions. You know, how do we make sure this tech is used ethically and responsibly? Who benefits and who could potentially get left behind?
Data privacy immediately comes to mind. I remember trying this one diet app, and it wanted access to my entire contact list.
Oh, wow.
It kind of made me wonder, what happens to all this incredibly personal information? Our genes, our health data, even just what we eat every day.
If we think about the bigger picture, data breaches and misuse are already huge concerns, right?
Right.
So how do we safeguard this even more sensitive data from ending up in the wrong hands? And who owns it anyway?
Right.
Is it me, the tech company, or my doctor?
Exactly.
We need answers to these questions before this technology becomes widespread.
Yeah, exactly. And even if we solve that data privacy issue, what about access?
Right.
Will personalized nutrition powered by AI just be for wealthy people? Could this actually worsen existing health disparities?
That's a critical point. You know, imagine a world where only the well-off can afford AI nutrition advice, while folks who are struggling with food insecurity are stuck with generic guidelines that might not even work for them.
Exactly.
We need to make this technology accessible and affordable for everyone, not just a select few.
Okay, so data privacy and access are huge. Anything else we should be worrying about?
Bias is a major concern, even beyond the language issues that we talked about earlier.
Right.
AI algorithms learn from the data they're given, right? So if that data has existing biases from healthcare or nutrition research, the AI could just continue those biases, potentially leading to unfair or even harmful advice.
If the AI was mainly trained on data from white middle-class people, its recommendations might not be right for someone from a different ethnicity, economic background, or who has different cultural eating habits.
Exactly. We need diverse teams creating this AI, people who can spot and fix those biases before they get built into the technology.
Right.
And we need to constantly check and audit these systems to make sure they're working fairly and not discriminating against certain groups.
This feels like it needs some serious regulation. Can't we just trust the tech companies to get this right on their own?
We can't just rely on self-regulation.
Right.
We need clear rules and standards for developing and using AI in healthcare, especially for something as basic as nutrition.
Right.
People need to know how these algorithms work, what data is being used, and how their information is being protected. Independent oversight is essential.
All this talk about potential problems makes me wonder, should we even be pursuing this AI-powered nutrition at all?
I don't think it's about abandoning the technology. AI can be a really powerful tool, but it shouldn't replace human connection and the expertise of healthcare professionals.
Right. It's easy to get so caught up in the wow factor of AI and forget that a real person can offer empathy, understanding, and advice tailored to our own unique situations. Things that AI can't quite do yet.
Absolutely. Doctors and dietitians bring a wealth of knowledge and intuition that goes way beyond what any algorithm can currently capture.
Right.
It's a partnership, not a replacement.
Yeah.
AI can provide these amazing insights and tools,
Hmm.
but it's up to us to use them wisely,
Right.
ethically, and for everyone's benefit.
This has been a really fascinating deep dive.
Yeah, yeah.
From the surprising results of that Kazakh study
Right.
to the mind-blowing potential of AI and nutrigenomics and
Uh,
the very real concerns that we need to address along the way.
Absolutely.
It feels like we're at a turning point with this technology.
We are, and this is a conversation we need to keep having.
Hmm.
The future of personalized nutrition isn't just about what we eat, it's about who we are,
Right.
right down to our DNA. And as AI keeps learning and evolving, we have a chance to create a future where this knowledge benefits everyone.
That's a great point to end on. Thanks to all of our listeners for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's given you plenty to think about. Stay curious, stay informed, and we'll see you next time.